Today on Forbes, here are Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s richest donors. Who is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the 2024 presidential race? Is he a spoiler poised to hand the election to Trump? Is he an appealing alternative to Biden? Is he an antidote to two-party rule? RFK Jr., the independent presidential candidate, is many things to many people. No surprise, then, that his richest donors are a diverse group. His richest donors are worth a combined $37 billion. These tycoons include once dependable Democrats, political newcomers, and some of Trump's biggest backers. Together, they've seeded RFK Jr.'s long-shot bid with $39 million, funding a Super Bowl ad, and underwriting a frantic effort to get RFK Jr., who is JFK's nephew, on the ballot in all 50 states. It would take a lot more money to actually return a Kennedy to the White House, but $39 million could nonetheless be enough to affect whether Biden or Trump ends up there. At number 1 on RFK Jr.'s richest donors list is Timothy Mellon, whose net worth is nearly $1 billion and who has given $25 million in donations to groups supporting Kennedy. The Mellons and Kennedys, American dynasties associated with opposite political parties, summered together on Cape Cod in the 1960s. More than a half-century later, Timothy Mellon, who grew his family's banking inheritance in the railroad industry, is the biggest supporter of RFK Jr.'s candidacy. That doesn't necessarily mean he wants RFK Jr. to win. Mellon has invested more than 3 times as much into Donald Trump's effort to reclaim the White House. At number 2 is Nicole Shanahan, who is worth more than $300 million and who has given $14 million to Kennedy groups. Not only is Shanahan RFK Jr.'s second biggest donor, but she's also his running mate. Shanahan is the ex-wife of Google co-founder Sergey Brin. She appears to have received at least 2.6 million shares of Google's parent company, Alphabet, in her divorce. If she held on to them, those shares would be worth nearly $500 million today. Shanahan gave thousands of dollars to Hillary Clinton in 2016, and even more to support Biden in 2020. But she was drawn to Kennedy, especially his ideas about chronic illness, which, Shanahan believes, can be caused by things like microplastics, electromagnetic pollution, and prescription medications. She spent $4 million to air a Super Bowl ad supporting Kennedy earlier this year, according to the New York Times. In March, Kennedy selected her as his running mate, allowing her to inject unlimited sums directly into the campaign. Since then, she's spent $10 million. At number 3 is John Paul DeJoria, who is worth $3 billion and who has donated $6,600 to Kennedy groups. DeJoria, a former door-to-door salesman who once lived out of a 20-year-old Rolls-Royce, co-founded the hair care giant John Paul Mitchell Systems in 1980 with just $700. 9 years later, he started Patron, a premium tequila brand he sold to Bacardi in 2018. DeJoria is a prolific philanthropist, and he also shares his fortune with politicians, mostly Republicans from his adopted home state of Texas. His connection to RFK Jr. runs deep, though. DeJoria is a trustee of Kennedy's Waterkeeper Alliance, one of multiple environmental efforts the billionaire has bankrolled. Kennedy was the first presidential candidate to receive a DeJoria donation since Jeb Bush. At number 4 and 5 are sisters-in-law Holly Gores, who's worth $9.1 billion, and Kelly Gores, worth $2.2 billion. Each has given $6,600 to groups supporting Kennedy. While they are not mega donors, they certainly have plenty of money to spend. Holly is married to Tom Gores, the owner of the Detroit Pistons. Kelly is married to his brother, Alec. The Los Angeles-based siblings once worked together on buyouts before striking it out on their own with separate private equity firms. Their wives have both donated $6,600 to Kennedy's campaign, which is the most any non-candidate can give directly to a campaign. So far, they have not handed over bigger sums to Kennedy's Super PAC, which is allowed to accept donations of any size. For full coverage and to see the rest of the list, check out Leo Kamen's piece on Forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.